It's a privilege to be able to speak to Dr. Michael Jordaan, chairperson of Bank Zero. We're going to be talking about banking on tomorrow and looking at banking in a digital era. Thank you, Michael. Michael, you're known for being at the forefront of technological advancements and doing things in a new and different way. Why are you so passionate about it?
Well, the thing about technology, of course, is it hasn't stopped developing. If anything, it's changing faster and faster. So the exciting thing about technology is it can solve problems that we weren't able to solve yet because technology is getting so much more powerful. And obviously the thing about South Africa is that we have a lot of problems. So I get excited about all this technology because I see opportunities to solve many of South Africa's problems, whether that's health, education, or most certainly agriculture.
So what are the new trends in banking and what makes Bank Zero different?
Well, obviously, as a founder of Bank Zero, I'm very excited about it. It's a mobile bank, and if you had to redesign banking from first principles, obviously it would be mobile. It's also very secure, and that's very important. We haven't had one case of fraud yet, touch wood. It's free. Banking should be free. We pay way too much in bank fees in South Africa. And then finally, it was specifically built for businesses, and that includes farms and agricultural enterprises, because those things can be very complex in terms of paperwork. And Bank Zero makes it not only free, but simple too.
Michael, you just launched 2 new AI companies. Tell us a little bit more.
Yes, of course, artificial intelligence has been around for over 60 years, and there have been many false dawns. But lately, an application called ChatGPT has become very popular. I'm sure your viewers have played around with it. And when you interact with it, it really feels like you're interacting with another smart human being. So this shows that AI, artificial intelligence, is at a tipping point. And yes, I recently announced 2 new ventures, obviously with partners, and the one uses artificial intelligence to invest in New York on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange, while the other is a private equity fund where we're hoping to raise $200 million, and then we're going to invest in companies that employ artificial intelligence in their business, because that's where we think the biggest changes are going to happen in the economy, when people bring AI inside to their businesses.
What are the major technological advancements that you foresee or hope for in the near future that will change the world?
Well, as I said at the beginning, there are major things happening in technology. In a sense, the world is changing faster and faster, and it's all driven by technology in a whole range of fields. So I can mention a few. One would be Internet of Things. Up until now, the Internet has been something that connected us humans, but increasingly the Internet is connecting things, whether it's traffic lights or weather balloons or a tractor on a field that's plowing. So that's a massive change. More things are being connected to the Internet than people. There's virtual reality, where we can experience the world, whether it's a visit in the Louvre Museum in Paris, or you can do a chemical experiment for school kids without needing any of the ingredients. You can even create an explosion in virtual reality with no damage. One of the things I'm most excited about is energy. Now, we know we have a terrible problem with load shedding in South Africa, but there too technology is coming to the rescue. Not only is solar power now cheaper than buying directly from Eskom, there's wind power, there's even small-scale nuclear, and a lot of that knowledge is even some that come from South Africa from many years ago. And on top of it all, there will be a massive growth in battery technology, and this will all be done using a smart grid. So in quite a perverse way, certainly not by design, South Africa is going to use all of these new technologies. We're going to create the future probably ahead of other countries, basically because we have to, because of load shedding. So energy is very exciting. Then I spoke about artificial intelligence. I think artificial intelligence is one of the most revolutionary technologies that will change nearly every single business. And my advice to anybody listening or watching is to not be afraid of this trend, but to lean into it. Download ChatGPT and start playing around with it. It can do a speech, for your best mate at his birthday. You can ask to hear a song in Afrikaans about a braai on a Friday night in the way that, Koos Kombuis would have done it. And within a few minutes, that song will be there. And you can even put music to it. So my broad message is there are very many technological forces at play. Some of them are intersecting and overlapping and reinforcing each other's, and they are leading, in many cases, to business model changes where the nature of a business as we knew it is just changing. I mentioned Bank Zero, which is fully mobile without branches. This type of thing is happening in industry after industry. But the broad message is don't be afraid of technology, lean into it. It's going to solve many of the problems that we have in South Africa and in the world.
Michael, you spoke a little bit about ChatGPT and how it's changing the world, and we know a lot of people are skeptical or unsure of its role. But how do you foresee AI and perhaps even something like ChatGPT changing the way we invest? And when you say we shouldn't fear it, are you confident of the returns?
Well, so ChatGPT is a very, very cool technology to play around with. I'm telling my kids to use it for their homework, but then to double check it, because it is not necessarily true. All it does is it scrapes all the information that it finds on the internet and it gives a result that is the most plausible. But something that's the most plausible isn't always true, isn't always fact-checked. So that's the first important thing. I'm not sure that ChatGPT per se will necessarily be able to pick stocks for you. However, if you ask it, what should I do if you're a young person to be wealthy one day, it is most likely to tell you that you need to work hard, that you need to save, that you need to have diversified investments. So it is likely to give you solid advice. The use of AI in the two companies that I mentioned earlier, which is AI Capital and AI Asset Management, that is slightly different. So we are using algorithmic decision making, which is based on machine learning, to select which stocks we think will be the best in NASDAQ. I wouldn't yet predict with confidence what's going to happen. I'd like to see a track record being established over time. I think that would be the right conservative thing to do. And then the second business is where we do private equity investments, and that's driven by humans, but it's by humans looking at companies that are going to use AI tools. Now, it could be a farmer, right, who says that I want to know when is the most appropriate time to irrigate my field and only which portions of the field, and then have a device that is actually self-driving, that is autonomous, that actually administers this in the fields and so automates the process. But it could be a life insurance company that answers you quicker and comes back with better life insurance rates. Nearly everything that we see in the world today can be changed and improved by artificial intelligence, and that's the trend behind which we hope to invest. And that one, I'm confident, will outperform, because companies who do not lean into this trend will probably not be around in 10 years' time.
So AgFinTech is a big talking point at this year's Africa Agritech conference, and we're seeing more end-to-end finance solutions in the agricultural space. But where do you see the gaps for further advancement?
Well, I'll first of all mention Bank Zero again. I just think the fact that businesses out there can cut one specific expense item and save thousands and thousands of rands, that is a dead obvious thing to do. Clearly, employees can also use it, and then there are even more savings to be had. So just lower cost of financial services is definitely important. When you speak about lending, I would say the biggest thing that is missing in South African culture, as agriculture, is not lending into the individual businesses as much as it is that we need a macro plan to develop the infrastructure for agriculture in South Africa. We need more dams, we need more canals, we need the ports infrastructure to work, and we need the rail infrastructure to work. So the real challenges are not with the excellent entrepreneurial, visionary farmers that we have, but in the overall infrastructure that should set them up for success.
Michael, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. Always great to chat to you.
Thank you for listening.